You know that feeling when you scroll through 1,000 listings, see a laptop that looks like a portable gaming rig straight out of a sci-fi movie, and then you actually get it home only to find the screen glare is worse than a desert sunrise and the fans sound like a jet engine on takeoff? I've been in that exact spot more than once, and that's why I wanted to dive into the ASUS ROG Strix G18 before you do. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Strix G18 is marketed as the ultimate 18-inch monster for creators and engineers who also need solid AAA gaming performance. On paper, it's got an 18-inch 2.5K Nebula display, an Intel Ultra 9275HX, RTX 5060 graphics, 32GB of DDR5 RAM, and a 1TB SSD. All of that sounds like a dream, but the real question is whether this combination actually works in a daily workflow without turning your desk into a heat zone or your pocket into a loan shark's treasure chest. First, let's talk about the display because that's the thing you'll stare at for hours, whether you're rendering a 3D model or grinding through a new release. The 2.5K Nebula panel is crisp, with a decent 165Hz refresh rate, and the color gamut is wide enough that Adobe-level color work is believable. In my testing, the brightness held up well in a typical home office with moderate window light. You won't need a flood lamp to see details. However, the panel isn't fully HD recertified, so if you're a serious video editor looking for true-to-life HDR grading, you'll notice the peak luminance drops off once you push the content beyond standard SDR. For most gamers and casual creators, though, the visual fidelity is more than adequate. Thermal performance is the next big hurdle for any laptop of this size. ASUS touts ice-cold thermal stability, and there's truth to it, but only if you understand the trade-off. The cooling system is aggressive, with 2 large fans and a vapor chamber heat pipe design. When you load up a demanding title like Cyberpunk 2077 at max settings, the fans spin up to a roar that can be heard across a small room. The laptop stays under 90 degrees Celsius in the CPU, which is safe, but the audible noise can be distracting in a shared workspace or while you're streaming. The upside is that under a typical game load, think Valorant or Fortnite, the fan curve settles to a more tolerable hum, and the system maintains a steady frame rate thanks to the RTX 5060's 6GB VRAM. If you plan to push to 4K or ray-traced workloads constantly, you'll either need to accept the fan soundtrack or dip your settings. Now, the size and weight. This is an 18-inch laptop, so you're looking at a chassis that weighs roughly 3.2 kilograms, about 7 pounds. It's clearly meant to sit on a desk, not travel in a backpack. I've seen creators in small studios love the massive screen real estate because it reduces the need for a second monitor, and it makes multitasking feel natural. You can have a Blender timeline on one side, a Photoshop panel on the other, and still fit a game window in the middle. But if you're a student or a person who moves between coffee shops, the heft can become a daily inconvenience. The build feels solid, with a brushed metal finish that resists fingerprints, yet the hinge shows a hint of lag when you flip it from laptop to tablet mode, which is expected given the size. Battery life is another hidden cost. The 99Wh battery drains quickly when the GPU is active. In a pure gaming test, I got about 2 hours of continuous play before the charger kicked in. In a mixed-use scenario, some coding, a bit of video watching, and a short gaming session, you might stretch to 5 hours. That's fine for a desktop replacement, but it isn't a travel companion. The charger that comes with it is a chunky 230W brick, so you'll need to keep it handy if you want to stay mobile. Who should buy this machine? If you're a content creator who needs a single, large-screen workstation that can also run most modern games at 1080p 1440p without dropping frames, the Strix G18 hits the sweet spot. Its 32GB of DDR5 RAM means you can have dozens of tabs, multiple design tools, and a VM running simultaneously without hitting a memory wall. The 1TB SSD provides fast load times, and you won't be forced to offload a game after a few months of heavy use. Engineers who run simulations or compile large codebases will appreciate the strong single-core performance of the Ultra 9 CPU, especially when paired with the SSD's quick read-write speeds. On the flip side, you should skip this if you're primarily a competitive esports player who cares about the lowest possible input lag and a super quiet chassis. The fan noise, while manageable for many, can be a deal-breaker when you're trying to hear subtle audio cues in a shooter. Also, If you travel a lot or need a laptop that fits in a cramped backpack, the size and weight make